Before talking about what swine flu is, it's probably better to just talk about the regular flu. All of us know what it feels like, and I think most people know that it's caused by a virus called influenza virus. Humans have our own influenza viruses. Birds have their own influenza viruses, and pigs have their own influenza viruses, and usually the viruses for pigs can't infect birds or humans. But sometimes they can. And that's what's happened with this virus. A new virus from pigs has developed that can infect humans. Swine flu viruses and bird flu viruses can indeed be dangerous, in part because they are so new to humans when they infect us, we don't have any immunity to them. So they hit us hard. Sometimes they hit us very hard and can even cause death. But a lot of people don't realize this. The regular human flu viruses that all of us are exposed to every winter also can cause death. So what happens with these swine viruses is that they can even cause more severe illness. Since the late 19th century, there have been 4 major world pandemics of influenza. 3 of them were worse than the usual flu that we get every winter. One of them was very much worse, and that was the global pandemic of 1918 and 1919. That pandemic killed about 40 million people all over the world, at a time when the world had fewer people than it does now. It was a very severe illness. It very severely affected the economy of the world and took a decade, really, for the economy to recover. So we're hoping that this swine flu outbreak won't become a pandemic, and if it does, we're hoping it won't be nearly so severe as the pandemic of 1918-19, but it could be, and we have no way of knowing right now. Yes, this new swine flu virus, unfortunately, can be easily transmitted from person to person. That's unusual. For instance, until this outbreak, there had been like 100 cases of swine flu in the last 10 years in the United States, passed from a pig to a human, but typically not passed from the human to another human. This new swine flu virus clearly can pass easily from one human to another, and that's what makes it so dangerous. The biggest puzzle about this swine flu epidemic right now is that some people get very sick from it, and some people have died, whereas others seem to get a mild illness, not much worse or any different than the flu we get each winter. We don't know why that is. We don't know if it's that some strains of the virus are slightly different and make for a more severe disease, or whether certain people are more vulnerable to the virus because of their genes and the way their immune system responds to the virus. But we know that it can produce anything from very mild disease to very severe disease. And what we cannot predict yet is whether it's going to get more mild or more severe over the coming months. Antiviral medicines, oseltamivir and zanamivir, will kill this current flu virus, swine flu virus, right now. But these flu viruses can change. They can mutate over time and develop resistance to drugs. But the good news is, right now, they can be killed by these 2 antiviral drugs. One of the drugs used, doctors are recommending that they be used in anyone who has swine flu and has moderate or severe symptoms, and possibly in people who are close contacts of such documented cases of swine flu. But they definitely should not be used by people who have a cold or respiratory symptoms but do not have documented swine flu. And the reason they should not be used is that if they're widely used in a lot of people who don't really need them, that will only increase the chance that the virus will become resistant to the drugs, and then all of us will be at risk. Very important question, and unfortunately it's a hard question to answer because the first symptoms of swine flu are really not very different from the first symptoms of regular flu or other respiratory infections. Fever, sore throat, cough, sneezing, runny nose, aching muscles. All of those are very common, but they don't mean if you have them that you have swine flu. Also, with swine flu, it seems like nausea and vomiting and diarrhea may be more common than they are with the regular flu. So it's a very difficult thing based on symptoms alone for you or your doctor to know for sure whether these symptoms are caused by swine flu. But we have tests to establish that. The same precautions that all of us should be taking every day to protect ourselves from infectious diseases will also obviously protect us against the swine flu. And that's, for example, wash your hands frequently every day or use hand gel. If people around you are coughing or sneezing, don't get too close to them. If you yourself are coughing or sneezing, always cough or sneeze into a tissue, not into your hands, and then throw the tissue into the toilet bowl. Avoid shaking hands. If there's a swine flu outbreak in your community, avoid shaking hands with people or kissing people. Avoid physical contact of that type, which we normally do as part of everyday relationships. For a window of time, if there's an epidemic in your community, it's probably better to appear a little bit antisocial. People will understand because everyone knows what's going on and everyone is worried. Adults are contagious typically for about 7 days after the start of symptoms. With kids or with older people or people with compromised immune systems, for whatever reason, it can be longer, 10 or 14 days. So that's the general window in which people are contagious and should avoid contact with other people. There is no risk of getting swine flu from eating pork. There is risk of several diseases if you don't cook pork adequately, but it doesn't affect the risk of swine flu. Basically, don't worry about eating pork is the message. If there is a global pandemic or if there is a big outbreak of swine flu in your community, almost surely local governments will impose a set of restrictions on everybody in the community. Public meeting places may be closed. Schools may be closed. Public transportation may be encouraged only for those who absolutely have to get somewhere. And people will be encouraged to work from home for a period of time. In the worst pandemics, communities really slow down to a crawl for a period of weeks until the contagion passes, and then life goes back to normal.